All right, my off-grid fans, my home backup power fans, my RV life and boating life fans, today we're going to be talking about a power station that is near and dear to my heart because I have been using it on my off-grid homestead here to power my entire house. We are talking about the Peekron E3600 LFP. This is a LiFePO4 battery inverter all-in-one system, and it is really cool. So we're going to get into a few of the things that I love about it, and we're going to get into a couple of things that I don't so much love about it. So first and foremost, I'm out here completely off grid. I have no tie to anything. It's 45 minutes to the nearest city, 25 minutes to the nearest town that has a gas station and a small grocery store, and that's about it. So we are 100% reliant on this inverter battery pack that we have here, along with some backup options in case we need them. And I'll get into each one of those as well and how I've kind of tied everything together to make this work on a budget. And I'll also show you guys my solar panel setup that I have going right now as well. So the Peekron E3600, this bad boy has a 3000 watt battery in it, and it can handle 3600 watts of continuous, and it can handle more than that in a surge. Now, when it comes to the surge power, I found that it's more of a marketing gimmick to me than anything else, because your surge, you're going to get like, what, 10 seconds max before it just shuts off because it's going to send a alarm bell to the BMS, which is the battery management system, so that you don't catch on fire. And so I don't really pay attention to the surge numbers from these companies when they come out with stuff. I want to know what is the running wattage that this thing can do. And I have had this thing maxed out just over 3600 watts, running the heat pump, running the air fryer and the microwave all at the same time, and it was able to handle all three. And so, you probably don't want to be doing that all the time. So usually, either me or my wife will try to be conscious and like turn the heat pump off if it's in the winter, or the air conditioner when it's summer. We'll try and turn that off. But for 3 months, we have been running our cabin with this thing nonstop every single day, draining the battery all the way down, charging the battery all the way up to 100%, and we have had zero issue with it. And so far, I really, really am impressed, and I like it. Bang for the buck. I did a lot of research. I'm not an electrician. I'm good with, making things out of wood. But when it comes to electrical, I am a novice. And so I didn't want a system where I had to do a bunch of bus bars and wiring and figuring out amperage and all of this other stuff. I wanted a plug and play that I could just come out here. My house is already wired for a 30 amp cord, which I have here because I used to run my tiny cabin off of a generator with a 30 amp plug, which I'm going to show you in a second. And it's worked flawlessly so far. No issues with it whatsoever. It runs the entire house, and now we've just built a new studio alongside it, and it's running power in there too, which is a water heater, electric water heater. It runs it just fine, and some lights. That's all that I have in there right now, but we're going to wire it up for full outlets, little kitchen in there, and everything else. What I like about this unit so far, the app is super easy to use. I really enjoy the app. I can be off in the other tiny cabin, and I can check and see the battery on this. I don't have to come out here and look and see how much battery we have. If I need to top it up with the generator or whatever I have to do, I can see it right at the palm of my hand because it connects straight to my Wi-Fi. And even though, it's a good 25 feet away from the tiny cabin, it's connected to the Wi-Fi, no problem. I've had zero issues. I've been out of town and I can check on it and see what it's doing. So the app is very simple, very easy to use, very intuitive, and I just absolutely love it. The only issue that I did have with it was trying to get it to connect initially, and I think that was user error. I don't think that was on Peekron. But that being said, one of the things I don't like about it is if this thing trips for any reason and it shuts off power, you cannot just use the app to turn this thing back on. If this battery drains to 0, I'm out of town and I want to, I want to make sure that, it turns power back on to my cabin. I can't do that through the app. I physically have to come out and push this button and hold right here for it to start feeding power. And I've had that happen several times where I was topping it up with the generator, and because the generator is, even though it says it's a pure sine wave generator, it is not. And because of the fluctuations, it triggered this thing to cut off power to the cabin, and I was not able to simply just tap on the app and have it turn power back on. Even though this thing had battery power and everything, it had juice, but the app just doesn't allow you to do that. So that's one negative that I didn't like about the app. I think if they could fix that in a firmware update or something, that would be awesome. But I think that's a really big drawback, and I just don't see why you can't do that through the app. It should just be that simple. Now, the other thing that I really like about this unit is it does have a true 30 amp plug. So I have this plugged in to, and I did have to get an adapter for it because my plug was the wrong plug. The plug coming out of my house was not the right plug. There's 2 different 30 amp plugs apparently. One's a twist lock, one's the other way. Why they make them different, I wish these companies and maybe the government would just mandate that they make this stuff uniform. Makes no sense, but it is what it is. So I got the adapter so that I could plug my 30 amp plug into this thing. And that's great because you can get a full 30 amps out of this. And through my research, some of these 30 amp plugs on other units claim that it's a 30 amp plug, but you're only getting 20 amps or less. And so this is a true 30 amps. I've run a full 30 amps on this thing and it's handled it no problem. So I really love that about it. I love the ports here. Now I don't use any of these other ports other than my 120 outlet ports that I have here, and it gives you 4 of them, which is really nice. So I also am running some power through extension cords, not just my 30 amp cord that's going into the cabin, which my electrician put in, but I am hoboing it with a couple of extension cords to run the water heater in the bathroom in there and some lights. Probably not the best idea, and I am going to get that fixed here pretty soon, but for now it has been working. And then you have the ability to run your solar, and so it has 2 solar plug-ins here, and I really like that because if you have mismatched solar, maybe one's only a 300 watt, maybe one's a 400 watt, you can plug one into this side and it's not going to limit your bigger panels. And that's actually what I have here, and stay tuned because I'm going to show you guys how I have that set up. So 2 inputs, and each input can do 1200 watts of solar, 150 volts, and I think 20 or 50 amps. I don't run it parallel. I run mine in series, so mine is on volts. And so it's great. You can get a full 2400 watts of solar input into this small unit, which will keep you charged up for most of the day. As I have it stand right now, at most I'll get like 1200 watts. So I need to increase the system a little bit more, get some more solar panels, I think. But as it stands right now, it's not too bad. We've stayed pretty much 100% the whole time. And then you have these other ports over here. You have a 12 volt port and some USB ports. This thing's out in the shed. I don't use any of those, but if you had this in your RV or a boat, maybe you'd want to use it. That's great. Wireless phone chargers on top. Again, I don't use it. It's out here in a shed, and I will put it in an enclosed shed here pretty soon that will be ventilated with a solar fan. But for now, it's just in my open shed here, and it stayed pretty clean, so I'm not too worried about it. It's out of the weather. And so those are the things I really love about it right now. One thing I don't like is the fact that I need more power. So I need the expansion battery. And that's one thing I do like, is that you can expand this thing with an additional 4 battery packs, I believe, or maybe 5 battery packs. And you can get this thing over like 20,000 watts or something like that. So you can really grow this system. And since I never use over 3,600 watts of power at a time, This is perfect for my little cabin. I don't really see the need to upgrade to a bigger system. This works for us. I just need more battery capacity so that I could get those filled up. And then when we do have cloudy days, I'm not having to run the generator. Now, one of the things that I don't like about it, and maybe you can hear it, maybe you can't, but it does have a fan that pretty much stays on all the time. And so if you got this inside an RV or a boat, this may not be super ideal because that fan can get a little bit annoying, but it is pretty quiet compared to other systems that I have researched and looked at. So not too big of an issue there. The other thing I do like about it is it also comes with a 110 volt plug here, so you can charge straight from your house off of the grid, or you can plug this over here, and then on the other end, this goes into a generator like I have here. So right now I have the 30 amp plugged in here, and so if I need to run the generator, I'm going to charge up at like 3,000 watts. I can charge this thing in an hour and it is full. But if you want to charge with a smaller cable and charge it only like 1,200 watts, you can do it with this one. So they give you both these cables in there, and I just think that's really cool because you got a backup, and I actually needed the backup because I have the Harbor Freight inverter generator, the 4550, okay? And this thing is supposed to handle 3,600 watts of continuous power and a max startup watts of 4,500 plus watts. And it's supposed to have this 30 watt plug right here. Well, this plug, I had to have an adapter again because this one does not fit in this one. This one is a twist lock, and this one is your regular 30 amp plug that is not twist lock. So I got this adapter, which comes with this machine, and it melted and it caught on fire. And I had to quickly disconnect this thing so I didn't create a fire in here and a major hazard. I don't know. I just had a defective unit from Harbor Freight. And unfortunately, I've had to turn 4 of these things in now over the past 2 years on warranty. Fortunately, I had the warranty. And the great thing about Harbor Freight is if you got the warranty or if it's within 90 days, they will usually take it back, no questions asked. The staff there has always been fabulous, and that's why I keep going back to Harbor Freight, despite the fact that this thing has had so many issues, and I've had to turn in 4 now since originally buying it. But it does get the job done. This one so far has had no issues with the 30 amp plug. It has not melted. It has not caught fire. So let's just hope that that stays the same way. But within an hour, I can charge this entire battery if it's completely dead with that 30 amp plug, and I really like that. So this is my backup here. If anything were to happen to this, I can still run the house on this generator, and I always keep up backup gas with the preservative stuff that you put in the gas. I forget what it's called. But that's kind of my backup. Now, my backup is then here. This is the Vton Jump 1800 with an extra battery. And so my friends over at Vton sent me this and had me try it out and check it out. And I love it. For what it does, it is absolutely cool. I really, really enjoy it. It is not a 30 amp plug though, and it doesn't have the power and capacity of the Peekron. So I use the Vton usually if I'm out on the property and I need power for my saw or something like that that is plug-in. I'll take the Vton because it's super light and it'll run all those tools pretty much all day long, and I have no problem with it. So that's the primary use that I use that for. However, what you can do is if this one and its extra battery, which has 3,000 combined watts of storage, if those are full at night, I can use this plug that Peekron sends, which is their 110 volt. I plug this into the battery port on the Peekron, and I charge this one into the Vton, and the Vton and its extra battery, so a full 3,000 watts, will then charge the Peekron at night. So when I wake up in the morning, I got a full battery. And so that's just a little hack that you can combine these two systems together in that way. And it's kind of like having the extra battery from Peekron, which right now the Peekron extra battery 3,000 watt is like $900. And so Right now, I have a total of 6,000 watts of storage capacity, which is really cool. So let me show you the solar panels and kind of how we just got this set up. Again, it's a little bit janky right now, but this is what we got going on. So I have the 300 watt foldable travel solar panel from Peekron. This is their solar panel right here, and I just built this little platform and mounted it to it as though it was like a glass encased solar panel. And then I have three 400 watt Vton foldable solar panels that Vton sent to me. Full discretion, they did send these to me, but this is not a paid sponsorship for this channel. And I did pretty much the same thing. So I made this platform for this one. I got this one platformed up on top of the solar shed. And so in theory, I should be able to pull right now a total of 1,500 watts. I at most get 1,200 on a very, very sunny day like today. I think right now when I checked before this video, we were pulling just around 1,200 watts. So that's pretty much my peak. It's not optimized. That's more on me and just kind of how I got this thing set up. But it does keep the battery fully charged throughout the day. And so at nighttime, that's when we start running down. And so if I need to, I just plug in the other solar generator backup battery that I have from Vton into the Peekron, and it works. So guys, if you are looking to get a solar generator to run your RV, run your 30 amp RV plugged, run a tiny cabin like me, we've got this tiny cabin over here that we sleep in, and then we just built this one over here, which is the new studio tiny cabin over here, which is still under construction. We got some cool stuff and cool videos that we're going to show you as we're building this out. Then Peekron is definitely for you. It's an all-in-one package. It's super easy. It's very intuitive. It's not perfect, but it's about as perfect as you can get for the price, because it is still, for all the features that it has, the cheapest one on the market that I could find that actually does what it says it's going to do. So I highly recommend Peekron, but I also highly recommend the Vton. If your power needs are not as great, you don't need a 30 amp and you just want to plug in some regular appliances, you can get the Vton as well. Very, very well priced and a very good product. So if you guys like this kind of content and you want to see more, make sure you hit that subscribe button, the bell notification, and please do me a favor and like this video.